Hello, and how are you? I hope that you are having a fantastic day. Today we're going to talk about cryptocurrency news. The IRS is intensifying its crypto hunt for people that are avoiding cryptocurrency taxes. Government seized crypto. In fact, in the United Kingdom, they seized $1 million in cryptocurrency that was used in a ransomware attack on someone's computers, on a company's set of computers. And then finally, Bitcoin defends new high prices. And so Bitcoin has been soaring since we hit 2020, and it's been holding at a new high price. So let's get into it. I want you to know our cat Blue is looking for every possible subscriber. He's hunting in unusual places. So do us a favor, help Blue today and subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is my opinion. I'm not smarter than you. You are smarter than you realize. Do not trust what I say. Do your own research. We want to help you do your own research, and so every article that we're going to look at today, we're putting a link down below in the description and comments. So if you want to read the article in its entirety, or if you want to do more research into that topic, that article will help you do that. And so if you're watching this broadcast on another platform such as Twitter or YouTube or something else, then just click the link to go to the YouTube webpage. And then down below is where the description is and where you'll find a link to all of the articles that we talk about today. So, IRS intensifies its hunt for crypto tax cheats. The IRS is taking steps to build cases against taxpayers who fail to report cryptocurrency. Despite more awareness of tax rules today, the IRS appears to believe that millions of transactions may be unreported. Taxpayers may think they will not be caught, but the risks are growing, and the best way to avoid penalties is to disclose and report as accurately as you can. Taxpayers may think that the IRS may penalize them, but might assume that they do not need to worry about criminal exposure. Yet, violators can face large penalties or even criminal investigation. Anyone convicted of tax evasion can face up to 5 years in prison and fines as high as $250,000. I don't know about you, but I can't afford 5 years in prison or a fine of $250,000, or in some cases both. And so I'm going to take every measure I can to make sure that I report every cryptocurrency transaction. And it would be highly beneficial if you did so as well. There's lots of firms out there that'll help you gather all of the information you need to report your cryptocurrency taxes. One of them is Zen Ledger, Z-E-N Ledger. And that's one that I used for 2018 and 2019. And then there's many, many others out there. Primarily what they do is you'll be able to put in your cryptocurrency addresses and the cryptocurrency exchanges that you used, and then they will go out to all of your addresses, all of those exchanges, gather up all of the information for every transaction that you occurred, and help calculate your capital gains tax, capital gains or capital losses for the tax year in question. And so definitely find one of those companies to help you do it, because doing it by hand and with paper is it's just crazy. It's just too much. It just depends on how much you are actually, how many cryptocurrency transactions you actually occurred or created. Eric Hilton from the IRS Criminal Investigation Division was recently asked to head the Small Business Self-Employed Division of the Internal Revenue Service. IRS Commissioner Chuck Rettig has moved to increase criminal investigations as well. Last year's IRS letters to 10,000 crypto taxpayers was just a start. Recipients who received and ignore those letters might be vulnerable. And I would tend to think that that's a little bit higher than might, because why else would the IRS be sending out those 10,000 crypto taxpayer letters if they didn't intend to follow up on it as well? That would be unexpected, to say the least. After receiving such a letter, it is harder to say you made an innocent mistake or misunderstood. The IRS draft 2019 Form 1040 contained a question targeting cryptocurrency as well. And so when you fill out your 2019 tax return, the Form 1040, which everybody has to fill in and sign, has a checkbox on Schedule 1, and it requires taxpayers to answer whether at any time during 2019 they sold, sent, exchanged, or otherwise acquired any financial interest in cryptocurrency. And so this is a really, really big deal with this question that'll be on this year's tax forms, because not answering that question doesn't exempt you from the penalties. In fact, they're doing it in order to enforce even stricter penalties against the people who fail to answer that checkbox, who fail to check the box when they should have. That should tell you something. After all, the Department of Justice Tax Division has successfully argued that the mere failure to check a box in the FBAR reporting context is per se willfulness. And so by not checking the box, but then at the end of the tax form you sign and say that you have answered this and done this in truthfulness, and that there's no, to the best of your knowledge, there's nothing incorrect in it, and then you sign your tax form, well, by not checking the box, they consider that per se willfulness. Willful failures, as opposed to non-willful actions, carry higher penalties and an increased threat of criminal investigation. The Department of Justice Tax Division is working with the IRS and is already involved in several criminal prosecutions involving cryptocurrency. Clearly, other cases are coming. The IRS Criminal Investigation Division is even meeting with tax authorities from other countries to share data and enforcement strategies to find potential cryptocurrency tax evasion. And so with the IRS teaming up with governments in other countries, if you're using a cryptocurrency exchange and you think, oh, well, that exchange is not a U.S. entity and therefore the IRS has no ability to get information from them, I would be more careful than that. You need to keep in consideration. In fact, this next article drills into that very subject. Bitfinex, 96 Bitcoin seized, additional proof of Bitcoin's non-anonymity. So a lot of people talk about how Bitcoin is great because you can be anonymous. Well, that's not so true. The British High Court has issued a court order and seized nearly $1 million in Bitcoin on Bitfinex. It is a precautionary measure concerning a lawsuit against some hackers who allegedly had Bitcoin sent to them as payment for a ransomware attack. Subsequently, the insurer decided to report the attack to the judicial authorities and hired a blockchain analysis company, Chainalysis, to track down the Bitcoin paid as ransom. Now, Chainalysis is a company that does research on blockchains such as Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So any cryptocurrency that has a blockchain, Chainalysis has been doing research into those blockchains and is able to track transactions from one address to another address. And so in this particular situation, these guys shut down 1,000 computers for this company in Canada, and then insisted that this Canadian company pay them a ransom of $1 million in order to get their computers turned back on. And so they paid the ransom, but they hired Chainalysis to track those Bitcoins, and those Bitcoins were tracked all the way down to Bitfinex, and then they got a court order from a judge to shut down that address on Bitfinex. And so the thing that you want to understand is that Chainalysis has been hired by the IRS, by the Securities and Exchange Commission, and by a number of other governments around the world to do similar things for them. And so you can count on the IRS having the ability to track crypto transactions as they flow through the internet. And so, it's getting somewhat serious about, the IRS is clearly getting serious about finding people that are trying to evade taxes that are due for cryptocurrency, and it looks like they want to make examples out of some people. So be sure you're reporting your cryptocurrency taxes. This is looking more and more serious as time goes on. Let me continue with this article. The analysis revealed that some of them meaning the cryptocurrency that had been sent, had been immediately exchanged for fiat currency, but most of the 96 bitcoins had been transferred to a Bitfinex address. For this reason, the High Court had issued an order and seized the Bitcoin from the exchange, which had explicitly requested a court order in order to proceed. In addition, the judge also requested Bitfinex to provide all the information in its possession to identify the incriminated account holder, and it did so, proving that Bitcoin is not anonymous. Because once they can track you to a specific entity, such as an exchange, then they can subpoena that exchange to get all of the information about who owns that account. And that the rumor that it is used by criminals for illegal purposes is false. Well, that's not really true. There's still people who use cryptocurrency for illegal purposes. The last fact may be true, but it is a misconception on the part of criminals, since BTC is traceable and not completely anonymous. So that's an important point to be aware of, is that your transactions on Bitcoin are traceable and they are not completely anonymous. Once they track a transaction to an exchange, then that exchange can be obligated by court order to identify who owns that particular cryptocurrency wallet or that particular account on that exchange. And all of a sudden, they've cracked the anonymity of the Bitcoin blockchain. So here's another related article, but this one is specifically about Chainalysis in particular. Better regulation could curb crypto scams, Chainalysis report says. So greater regulations and enforcement can deter some crypto crimes, blockchain forensics provider Chainalysis said in a new report. The firm's 2020 State of Crypto Crime report, published Wednesday, offers analysis of illicit activities last year, contrasting 2019's actions with previous years. Chainalysis found that while the amount of Bitcoin sent from criminal entities doubled between 2018 and 2019, it still accounts for just 0.08% of the total number of Bitcoin transactions last year. Now, if you ever watch the news, especially the mainstream media, and how they rail on Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general and say, oh, the only people that are using it are criminals or terrorists or yada, 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 doing illegal and illicit activities on it. We know from this information here that it is an extremely small percentage of the actual number of transactions that are occurring, especially since it's not even 1%. It's not even 1/10 of 1%. It's 0.08% of the total number of Bitcoin transactions. And so the amount of criminal activity that's occurring on cryptocurrency is minute, very small. And while exchange hacks and thefts dominated the headlines last year, scams were by far the most highest earning category of the crypto crime in 2019, the report said. Cryptocurrency scams represent a significant danger to consumer protection and the growth of the activity in 2019. Calls for increased action from regulators, law enforcement, and exchanges alike. And so given that the biggest chunk of cryptocurrency illegal activity were scams, keep that in mind, because you definitely want to take action. You want to take steps to prevent yourself from being scammed. And so when you see online something that says, oh, you're going to get a free Bitcoin, or you're going to get free this or free that, click this link now. Be very, very cautious of that sort of thing, because by clicking those links, you could actually install scamware, such as the ransomware in our previous article, was installed on that company's computers. So you need to be very, very careful. My recommendation is you want to have antivirus software on your computer, and I would recommend you find a good malware software as well. And having the combination of those helps protect your computer. The other steps that you can take to avoid scams is to never leave your cryptocurrency out on an exchange, because if somebody can get your user ID and your password, then they have access to your cryptocurrency and can do what they want with your cryptocurrency. So the best place to store cryptocurrency is always in a hardware wallet, not on an exchange, and not somewhere where it can be easily accessed by somebody who wants to scam you of your cryptocurrency. And so always be aware that all of that, you're going to get rich today, or we're going to give you a huge amount free, or anything along those lines. Be very, very cautious. If you're not, if you haven't learned much about how to avoid scams through the internet, scams through being online, then you might want to take some time and actually work on learning that, to be a little bit more security cautious if you're holding any kind of significant amount of cryptocurrency and using it through your own computers. Using your computer to buy, sell, or trade cryptocurrencies. So just a thought to keep in mind. Bitcoin reinforces latest rally with defense of the $9,200 price. So the last time I looked, which was just before I started this recording this broadcast, so right now it's 6:29 Central Standard Time in the morning, 6:29 a.m. on January 30th, 2020, and Bitcoin was riding right around 9,300. It had been sitting at that 9,300 price range for about 24 hours now, and so it looks like it has strong support at that level, and that it's likely to continue its increase. It's likely to continue going up. But as always, this is my opinion. This is not financial advice. I have a tendency to lean on the bullish side of cryptocurrency. I have a tendency to always be expecting it to go up. And oftentimes I'm wrong and it doesn't go up. So that's my opinion. I still think it is going to go higher, but it's been holding at the $9,300 price range, within $100 plus or minus that, and hasn't done any significant drops. Bitcoin defended key price support early Thursday, strengthening the case for another move higher, having faced rejection above 9,400 multiple times on Wednesday. The top cryptocurrency by market value came under pressure during the Asian trading hours today. Buyers, however, absorbed the selling pressure at $9,188, keeping the former resistance turn support intact. Bitcoin had reversed lower from the same $9,188 hurdle on January 14th, aborting the short-term bullish view. So as the cryptocurrency bounced up stronger from $8,250 earlier this week, traders wondered whether Bitcoin will again fail at the $9,200 price range and form a double top bearish reversal pattern, or cross the hurdle with conviction. The latter case won the day, and the bulls managed to push prices well above the $9,188 price on Wednesday, flipping the resistance into support and establishing a new higher high. At press time, Bitcoin is changing hands at $9,350, according to CoinDesk's Bitcoin Price Index. So that's the news for today. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that your family is doing well. And how can I be of service to you? If you have any questions on what I've said, if you have anything I didn't explain very well, or you want me to give you a deeper explanation, a deeper conversation, please leave comments below. If you disagree with anything I said, please provide your polite disagreement below. Look, you know things I don't know. I know things that you don't know. And when both of us get together, we're going to learn and grow together. And so that's what I want to do. I want to learn from the things that you know that I don't know. And I hope that you'll learn from some of the stuff that I know that you may not know. In the meantime, I hope that you'll like, subscribe, and hodl, and have a fantastic day.